Everyone, RemanX here. I have a special guest. We're going to talk about something. If you guys haven't seen this, we talked about the beginner Discord. We're going to showcase this again. You guys will see the link over to the Voltage Sauce Discord. Say hi, Philosopher.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, man. So I see you updated this, and tonight it is serendipitous that we are finding that Zemo is now becoming available, widely available to the players in the game on the raid node. So the raid viability of a character is kind of interesting. So tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, so look, for new players, the raid store is one of the places that can be an easy farm, even whether if they're doing raid orbs or they're buying individual characters. Zemo to me is a top 10 character in the game. So for the devs to make him available to new players in the raid store is huge. I think it's going to transform the arena, but it's also going to transform the team that new players are using to get through the villains campaign, particularly villains 7.1 to 7.3, so they can get to that Hella node at 7.6.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. So we're talking about that portion right there, but we're also looking at the Sinister Six too, because there's actually been some changes there with Electro and Swarm on there as well. So you kind of have the building blocks, because I will tell you that I think Shuri's stock might be back on the rise. Are you using her in the Doom Raid?
Absolutely. In fact, not only do I use her in the tech nodes of the Doom raid, but I use her in all three Greek raids in 4.3. She's just very valuable. I'm in the alpha lane in the global lane in alpha, and I use her in the tech nodes in beta, and then there's these Wakanda nodes in gamma. So I think her stock is on the rise as well. And as you point out, with Electro and Swarm being farmable now in easy stores that new players have access to, people are finding that if they put healer ISO on the Sinister Six, that they can keep themselves alive even without Doc Ock to get through some of those nodes.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. So the thing about Zemo, though, is Zemo's in fact impactful in a lot of additional game modes. And let's talk about that, because Zemo... and so if you're a new player, you're probably going to get Zemo, and you're going to be like, well, he seems a little lackluster, because some of his power is hidden behind probably what is widely considered one of the most important T4s in the game, his passive. So let's talk about Arena.
Yeah, I have, what I've heard from new players is that he is just super impactful in Arena, and he's great when he's paired with the Dad Bros, and some new players are using them even at 2 stars.
Yeah.
There's an event going on right now where you can get the Dad Bros in the event orb. So there are new players who are telling me they're ruling the new player arena with Zemo and the 2 Dad Bros, for example.
Yeah, and that's actually interesting, because without the presence of Black Order and some of the things that counter him, and more importantly, like even Yo-Yo not being available, that offense down, and even Magneto, some of the weaknesses of the team are not being exploited. So I think Zemo does get you probably even more than Wave 1 does into the elite arena earlier, until you encounter the Krakens that have spent in your arena shard. But by the way, when we talk about Dad Bros, we mean X Factor, and there is another reason why we talk about them, because they're probably going to be down the road really good with a rumored additions to the team coming up next patch. But so we did kind of like the beginner guide here. We're going to revisit it probably once a month just to see if there's anything that's impactful. So we're putting this video out because I think we just wanted to showcase the team. In fact, I've been talking about how low-key good Hydra Scientist is for what he does on the team, but more importantly, now that you have Zemo, that pairing makes them even more impressive. And so the other thing about Zemo is now you've got a kind of an early war offense team that you can kind of piecemeal build together. So he's good in a lot of game modes. People sometimes use him on defense, and depending on if you're in that gold 2, gold 3 sweet spot, sometimes he will be really hard for other teams to counter, because he does his passive explosion at a very high speed. But it is locked behind that T4. So I will say that his T4 and his passive is probably one of the most impactful abilities you can do relatively early on for a team. That buff clear and that extra speed takes him into an elite class here. So we talked about Wave 1, obviously Wave 1 with the resurgence. Anything else here change? I think we're pretty solid on that.
No, and frankly, this is the first change that we've had to this chart since October. So this is a really big change for new players. I think it's going to have a big impact in the new player experience.
Do you think Wales should be buying any other team here? Like, do you think Axemen replace symbiotes, or do you not find that yet?
Yeah, in fact, new players that have been buying Axemen and they're doing well in Arena with them, but I don't think they're as smart of a purchase because you won't be using them in Dark Dimension. And really, there are other options in the mutant nodes, even for example, for the Doom Raid. So I really think you get more bang for your buck still by buying Symbiote Spider-Man. You'll end up using this team in Dark Dimension 3, Dark Dimension 4. You'll still be using them in the bio nodes of this Doom Raid. So I still think symbiotes are a better bet.
Yeah, and I think the problem, like I said, with the Axemen is basically they're locked behind a legendary. So Jubilee's, whatever she comes back into the rotation, if you don't have a Pim Tech to do that, you probably shouldn't really consider Axemen as a purchase. So I think that's something that you have to take into account, is how important Jubilee is on that team. So I know people asked me and said, well, what do you think about them for even new Krakens? It's just impossible to Kraken on a team until the legendary comes back around. So and then the Dolphin with the Wave 1 with the Shield team offer. There's still some offers. If you guys are new to the game and you guys are wondering what those offers are, make sure you guys check out the Discord over here, the Voltage Sauce Discord. We're going to give you guys that link yet again to make sure you guys have it. This is a really great place to kind of talk about your progression because it's important, because every single time somebody starts the game, there is a new calendar for the month. So this month is Scarlet Witch. So if you're joining in March, obviously Scarlet Witch is your key character. And so what do you think about that? I mean, do you think that it changes anything with having a Scarlet Witch as the calendar for the login calendar for the month?
Probably not, although I suspect new players will throw her into their Wave 1 team until they get it complete.
Yeah.
What really helps new players is they get both Thor and Captain America in a calendar when they start. So that's one of the reasons why we like Wave 1 as a starting choice if you're not spending.
And
so
Hawkeye,
I
Hawkeye
think,
too, right?
yeah, I think they get Hawkeye, yes. And of course, as you know, the farming has changed so that they can farm some of these characters easier on some of the earlier nodes as well, right? With this Doom's influence. So makes it easier for them.
Okay. So, as far as DD4 goes, I think DD2 and DD3 are probably, there's a lot less restrictive. But when Philosopher kind of gave this guide, he tried to give you characters that are going to be impactful throughout your course of your playing, because it's really, if you choose your path here, either free to play, Dolphin, or Whale, you're going to still have to make some considerations based on what you make your investment in. And so what's going to happen is if there's ever an opportunity to jump the meta and get a head start, well, Philosopher and I will probably do some sort of like a hot take on that to give you guys some impressions. And X Factor might be that, but it's hard to say. They do feel really good. I know I know you might be a little bit of a fan of the X Factor team.
Absolutely. I think Longshot may be the best character in the game, and I think with Blue ISO, they're going to be even better.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Is a Blue ISO expands what the crit and crit damage does for the team. They're going to actually take advantage of that, and that should pretty much lock in their choices here. So just really quickly, as another thing is, if you guys are watching this video, I'm going to give you kind of the keys I look for really quickly when I'm deciding if a character is going to be impactful. And it really comes down to one really, really important factor, and that's speed, manipulation, turn meter, and or a really high speed factor. And that's why Zemo really moves up in this chart now that he's farmable, is because he is one of the fastest characters in the game, applies slow and ability block on turn 1, and can clear buffs on when he just spawns in on his first turn. So he probably one of those checks one of those boxes, and then obviously you'll see a lot of other characters do that we're talking about. So realistically, speed is king, and that is why he is moving up this chart, and he is somebody that'll be impactful for you as you move through and win a lot of game modes. Anything you want to add there, Philosopher?
New players have asked me why do you want me to have Black Widow and Hawkeye, for example, in my Wave 1 team? Why do I suggest those are two of the ones that they should pick? And it's for the same reason you just said, RemanX, which is Black Widow gives that speed up, Hawkeye reduces turn meter, and the whole reason that team works is because there's something that also is kind of a turn meter trick, which is out of turn damage by Thor. In other words, even when he doesn't take a turn, he can damage anyways with that special ability that he has in his passive.
Yeah, and he's also getting sped up when he gets the turn and does that passive. So there's all that turn meter manipulation. They actually have quite a bit of turn meter manipulation with their rework. When you hit a member of the Avengers, Hulk gets sped up. More importantly, that T4 on the shield toss from Captain America gives him 60% speed gain, so we can quickly transition to giving the team energy and defense up. So it's very, 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 very potent team, and they actually got a really, really, like I said, probably one of the best reworks in the game. Something that's not on here. Do you think it's Night Nurse is back on this list? Ooh, that's something for another video. I think we have to talk about that later on.
Yeah, it's interesting. Endgame players for sure. I just don't know for a new player. I guess she would have to be outside of her team. I think in raids she would be a very valuable standalone character. And the question is just at what point do you need her as a standalone character? Because they also have access to Minerva. By the way.
You know what's funny about that is before you played the game, she was the upper echelon healer. But we'll talk about that later in some more videos as we unlock the Shadowlands and see if that is the best free-to-play team that's coming to the game. More to that. Stay tuned. Philosopher, where can they check you out?
You can go to my Twitch, you can go to YouTube, or you can go to my Discord.
You're going to see all those links here in a little bit when we post this video. And you'll also have the link to the Voltage Sauce new player server. Really good hangout, great people to talk to, and more to come soon. All right, guys, I do things so you don't have to. And Philosopher does things that you may not want to. And so together, we give you some really good high-end philosophy and some realistic gameplay that shows what they can do in the end game. But all of that is taken into account so we can help make sure you don't make mistakes that we did and follow in a better path to the end game. We'll see you there.